It's Tuesday Wrestling, and we all know what that means. We get to review NWA Powerrr, AEW Dark, and NXT 2.0. In NWA Powerrr, we have the Idolmania Slam Challenge taking place, and also for the added bonus, Mickie James will be in the main event taking on Kenzie Paige, and of course, William Patrick Corgan, or as we know him as the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan will be doing commentary the entire time. And as for AEW Dark, we have some 9 matches that are taking place during the Universal shoot down there, which is really great. And Tony Storms makes her AEW Dark debut in this particular show. And as for NXT, we have the Spring Breakin. Lots of interesting things taking place. As you know, we have 2 title matches, the American Championship and the NXT Championship on the line. And of course, we got the War Raiders making their return to NXT to challenge the Creed brothers. And as for the news updates that we have a championship match that will be taking place on New Japan for the United States Heavyweight Championship in a 4-way. We also got, of course, more information on the GCW debut in Providence, Rhode Island. AEW is now being uh, considered having another show in TBS, which more interesting than you possibly could imagine. And of course, a Yoshi wrestler is now being confirmed that she will participate at New Blood 2 on May 13th. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay Rodier. Let's begin with NWA Powerrr. As I mentioned before, William Patrick Corgan is in the entire commentary section with Velvet Sky and Joe Galli. Now, it opened up with, of course, Mae Valentine interviewing Aaron Stevens. Now, I don't know if it's part of the story or this is for real. Aaron Stevens said he was done. He's done with everything, he's felt like he'd done everything that he thought he did was right after Question Mark passed away. Mae was crying the entire time, so it's okay, but Patrick Corgan thinks a different, how do I say, reasons that maybe he'll come back one way or the other. That's what what he might think, but we don't know. But we'll see. Now, our first match, we got Mike Bennett, one half of OGK, taking on Nick Aldis. Now, Nick Aldis, on the other hand, as you know, he's been trying to get back on the title hunt picture, knowing that he will not stand by and let a guy like Cardona run wild as a champion, claiming that he is the savior of NWA. But it was Aldis, in our opinions as fans, that he was the one who helped rebuild the NWA when it came back. So, but his intention was with Mike Bennett. But I have to say, the match was unbelievably amazing because Mike Bennett targeted an arm from Aldis. Now, this arm is one of the key factors that could help him when he pulls off the Texas Cloverleaf, which was amazingly good. But however, can he withstand the pain? Answer to that, he did. He put him in the Texas Cloverleaf not once, but twice. But Bennett had no other choice but to, of course, tap out. And all this, well, We do know he does have that mentality. He could get another shot, but we just got to wait and see when that day comes. So we'll find out more. Now, in another interview, this time with May Valentine, Cardona was not happy to hear that, of course, Nick Aldis is now talking about being back in the title picture. He's trying to tell him, get back in line. He wants him to go back to line. He feels that he is the true savior of the NWA. So he thinks that it's his show. He runs it however he wants it. But I'll explain more about that during an announcement that Corgan actually put out. Now, our next match is a tag team match. We got the Rude Dudes, Jamie Stanley and El Rudo, taking on the Fixers, Wrecking Ball and Jay Bradley. I thought this match was pretty cool. Even Corgan said that he remembers getting a email from Legursky saying that Fixers rules. That's it. But I have to say, this was a very interesting match. Now, the Rude Dudes think they were all smart. They are, but I think the Fixers were trying to, get out of this funk that they got themselves into during when they made that deal with Black G's. But fortunately, they did. They took out the Rude Dudes when they pancaked El Rudo, and he was done. 1, 2, 3. It was over right from there. Now, Kyle Davis did an interview in the podium with the Pope. As you know, people are questioning what's next with the Pope. Ever since he lost that match against Cardona for the heavyweight title, but he said this will not be the end. He's not going to look back on the past. He's going to keep looking to the future. So it is a possibility he could get another shot at a distant future, but we just don't know because the real story is it's Trevor Murdoch who does have a right for a rematch. Now there's still no indication if he will get that shot, but Pope, he's trying to be optimistic about this and be positive. So we'll be rooting for him. Now our next match is the Idolmania Slam Challenge. Now keep in mind, if you're able to pick up Tyrus, you get a shot of the national television championship. So you only get 3 shots. But Nims was able to pick up Tyrus. Idol believes that he cheated. There's going to be proof, but that's the thing. But of course, Patrick's not going to take William Patrick Corgan is not going to take that likely, saying that he cheated. They just don't want anybody to rain on Tyrus' parade. So, but Tyrus did say that Mims will never be the NWA World Television Champion. Thing is, he already has 5 victories. 2 more, he does get he does get a shot of the world heavyweight title. Now, our next interview, this time with May Valentine, she had Genocide and Matt Taven. Now, these 2 guys, as you know, Genocide is no longer in services of Terrell. She is now trying to get back into the title picture for a shot of the NWA Women's Championship, which is very good for her, making that push. Same thing with Matt Taven. So they are now in the picture to go out for a #1 contendership for a title shot, which is a good thing. So we can't wait to see, and that's going to take place next week. Now, on an interview with William Patrick, an announcement by William Patrick Corgan, he did address that at this moment, Matt Cardona does not control the NWA. He doesn't make the shots. He does. As long as he still is around, he's calling the shots. But he did state out for a match for next week. We have Nick Aldis teaming up with Commonwealth Connection, Doug Williams, and Harry Smith to take on the Cardonas. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Now, for our main event, we had a surprise guest commentator, and that is, of course, Velvet Sky's tag team partner, best friend, and member of the Beautiful People, Angela Love. I have to say, it was great to see her. But of course, this match they were commentating is Mickie James taking on Kenzie Paige. Now, this was a really good match. Kenzie Paige has grown up a bit more than we anticipated. But, she's facing a veteran like Mickie James, and you all know how that is. The veteran has the much better experience, but of course, it was the Mickie DDT that was sealed the deal and allowed her to win the match. It was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, but we'll see how it goes for next week. But right now, let's move on with AEW Dark. Alrighty then, so let's go with AEW Dark. Our first match, we have Ryan Menace being accompanied by Peter Avalon to take on Dark Order's John Silver, or as we call him, Johnny Hungy. Now, this was a very interesting matchup, but I wasn't too much pumped into it because the only reason this because I knew John Silver was gonna win. He's the fan favorite. Everybody loves Johnny Hungy, so he picked up a good victory with the I believe the Spin Doctor, and it was over right from there. Now, our next match, we have a very tough type of tag team match. We have the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry taking on the Varsity Blondes. I have to say, this was one of those toughest matches that the Blondes has ever been in, but they were able to pull it off when they applied the springboard clothesline, and it was over right from there. But, however, during the post match interview, Brian Pillman continues to realize things have not been the same for Julia Hart. So he called out the House of Black to claim their prize. They're saying that maybe Julia Hart should be with them or try whatever the scenario is. But it looks like they still got some unfinished business with them. Now, once again, we got Sean Spears taking on Cruz. Lord Crew, and as you know, Spears, being the cocky that he is, always wins his matches, especially that his mind is he can't wait to see how the hired mercenary is going to deal with Wardlow. So we'll see about that. Of course, he finished him off with the C4. Now, next up, we got Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Teriyaki and Jay Lucas. You can tell this is a powder keg. It was Ricky Stark's spear that sealed the deal, and it was over right from there. Next up, we got Julia Hart taking on Lacey Love. Now, Julia hasn't been the same. She's still in that. She's not cheery as she used to be until she got missed, and that kind of goes in its own way. But she continues to show her aggressive side. That's pretty much how it goes. But I don't know exactly what the plan the Varsity Blondes are trying to pull. But we just gotta wait and see what happened on Wednesday. Now, the feud between the factory against the LA Dojos continues on. QT Marshall continues to say that the LA Dojo doesn't produce talent, that they're nothing compared to him. So basically, they think that they're just a bunch of nonsense. But could expect the LA Dojo making their presence known at AEW, but because QT believes they're an embarrassment. But if I was Shibata, I would make my presence known and kick QT's ass. That's what I would do if that was Shibata. Now, our next match, we have the premier athlete, Tony Nese, taking on Leon Ruff. I thought this match was pretty interesting in the beginning. Now, Leon Ruff did pull off some good maneuvers, good strategy. But however, when Tony Nese realized that things are not going his way, he brings out the aggressiveness in order to finish him off. He did the running knee strike, and it was done. Excuse me. Next up, we got Angelico taking on the debut of the LA Dojo Young Lion, Yuya Uemura. I have to say, it was great. I have to say, there was some great. It was a great match. I'm surprised that QT or the rest of the factory didn't even bother come out to take him out to send a direct message to Shibata. But we'll see about that. But I have to say, what a match! I enjoyed it. However, Yuya Umra ended up in a Naviero key lock, and he couldn't get out of it, so he had to tap out. Next up, we got Dante Martin taking on Invictus Cash. What a match as well. He continues to bring impression, bring a great match to anybody, but he has no nosedive, seal the deal. 1, 2, 3, over. However, the biggest surprise came around. We're going to witness him taking on a Ray Phoenix in the qualifying match of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and this is like a dream match. Many people can say, yep, it's a dream match. Now, our main event, we got Diamante taking on Toni Storm. Much of the entire match was Diamante, but Toni Storm overturned it when she pulled the Storm Spike or whatever it is and sealed the deal with that. So I can't wait to see Toni in her tag team match on Rampage, but we'll see then. I have to say there were some pretty good matches on this one, but we'll see about that in the following week. Right now, let's move on with NXT Spring Breakin. Our last review is NXT Spring Breakin. It opened up with a three-way match for the North American Championship. You got Carmelo Hayes, the former North American champion, versus Solo Sikoa versus the champion Cameron Grimes. Now, keep in mind, this is a match that was kind of like Carmelo Hayes. He is trying to get back back to his winning ways and reclaim what he felt is his, which is the title. Solo Sikoa, who had an opportunity to challenge for the title, but of course did not get the win that he hoped for because of the interference from Carmelo Hayes. But now all three men are in the same ring. This was an unbelievable opener. I have to say it was great, not to mention the saves that come around. But Cameron Grimes pulled off the miracle when he did a cave-in, pinning, making the pin, and 1, 2, 3, it's over. He retained the title. But who will be the next competitor to challenge that? We just gotta wait and see. Now, earlier in the day, Mandy Rose, being hot and sexy that she is, went to get a tan. However, the playing games of Wendy Choo continues. She adjusted whatever she did on the machine where you get your tan. She comes out red. Even Gigi Dolan and JC Jane can't believe what just happened. But however, that does not go there. Apparently, later on in that very same day, Gigi and Jay-Z were in the beach. They had a suspicious feeling that Wendy Choo had something to do with it, but they spot on. But however, Wendy got help from her friend Roxanne, and they decided to take their shoes and the keys to the cars because they thought it was funny. And the playing games continues. But however, it did show that next week, Wendy and Roxanne will be teaming up against the Toxic Attraction. Now, before the next start of the match, we had Nathan Frazier, who is starstruck being there. As you know, he is excited to be in NXT 2.0, but his opponent is none other than Grayson Waller, who felt that Nathan Frazier shouldn't be in an NXT ring due to the fact that he's not going to allow him to spread his wings. But the match was pretty good, not to mention Waller tried to play mind games. But luckily for Frazier, he did get an assist from Andre Chase with the blowhorn, and it cost Grayson Waller the match. So the real question does remain. Where does Grayson Waller goes here? Will he get his revenge on Frazier and Andre Chase and everybody in Chase University? Well, we'll just have to find out and see. Now, Diamond Mine, as you know, they've been trying to get back on their feet. Now, Roderick Strong has been trying to get them not to make any excuses for losing, But I don't know. I had the distinct feeling that Roderick Strong was up to something, but we'll get to that match in a bit. Now, as you all know about the recent releases, this is the thing that bothers me. Persia Parada was sort of in a storyline with Duke Hudson, and of course Dexter Lumis with Indy Hartwell. The real question is, how do we go there? Now, I don't know if the idea they're trying to get those two together or about to kiss. That's the thing. That is one thing that bothers me, is that there's some good storylines being built, and this has to happen. I don't know. What do you guys think? You tell me. Now, they introduce one of the women who will be involved in the women's NXT breakout, Fallon Henley, and then of course they showed one with Tatum Paxton. I have to say, I can't wait to see what these two women can do and who will be in fact winning the women's NXT breakout tournament. Now, as you know, there was a potential war going on between Legado del Fantasma, Tony D'Angelo. As you know, they're trying to set up a meeting to try to discuss terms of peace. However, Santos, he is trying to pretend that he thinks he's the true leader of running things. But in a way, D'Angelo is trying to say, look, we can run things equally. Even though their goals are similar, but Santos claims that he's up here. D'Angelo's down here. But in a way, D'Angelo's not thinking straight or whatever he gets in his mind. Looks like the meeting wasn't going so well, but Legado decided to kidnap AJ Galante, Tony D's consigliere. I can't pronounce it right. My bad. For all you Italian guys, please don't kill me. I can't pronounce certain things. But the real question is what the Santos Escobar wants to do. We'll just gotta wait and see. Now, as you know, Viking Raiders has one thing in mind, and that mind is to try to beat the Creepas. However, Pretty Deadly are so dumb. Despite the fact they're trying to tell the Viking Raiders what to do, but they try to tell them to walk away, or they'll turn their attentions to them for their titles, and they just skedaddle. The smart thing to do. You don't want to have those two guys involved. Now, Joe Gacy once again with his propaganda. But the one thing that really struck was what he said in the end. That he's not going to be happy if he doesn't win the championship. That's like, to me, when you don't get your morning coffee. I don't drink coffee. Just making a point. If you don't get your morning coffee, you know you're going to get angry or you're going to feel like you don't know what you're doing. If you guys ever seen Gibbs NCIS, you know what I'm talking about. Gibbs, that one episode in the first season, Gibbs did not get his morning coffee because someone spilled. Now, our next match is a tag team match with Nikita Lyons and Cora Jade taking on Lash Legend and Natalia. Now, this was a pretty good match. It showed a very good character how Cora Jade, despite majority of the time they try to separate her away from Nikki Lyons. But in this moment, there was a great moment where Natalia misfired and got Lash Legend, and it was like, bad timing. But luckily for them, the Cora Jade was able to pick up the victory onto Lash Legend and win the match. But the real question does go, where does Cora Jade and Nikita Lyons go from here? Will Nikita get her match with Natalia? Well, her singles match against Natalia? Well, we won't know. Now, the match between the Viking Raiders and the Creed brothers, amazing. It was really good. I enjoyed how this was more a pound for pound powerhouse type of match. I was impressed. But however, the match ended when, of course, Roderick Strong got involved. Now, the Creed brothers were clueless of what just transpired until someone played the playback and they saw exactly what they saw. The Creed brothers did not like the idea of Roderick Strong helping them out. Could this the beginning of the explosion that Diamond Mine is done for? Well, we just gotta wait and see what happens then. Now, as you know, not too long ago, Brooks Jensen was attacked. Nobody knows who it was. However, they're playing that little game or that little storyline uh, that his right hand is strong. Nobody knows why. And Brooks Jensen and Joshua kind of look at each other. I don't know exactly if they're trying to think exactly what I think. I'm not going to say it here, but they said he will be back within 6 weeks or so. I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks. I'm not 100% sure. Now, our main event is the NXT Championship. I have to say, it was kind of like insane because it showed a pretty good storyline here. Like, you look at Joe Gacy, he thinks that if he becomes the NXT champion, things will fall into his way. That he is the savior of what he believes is his vision of NXT. Now, this is something similar that we're seeing with Matt Cardona, who thinks that he's the savior of the NWA. I don't know if they're taking that idea, not sure, but Braun Breaker was able to pick up the victory with Spear, giving. But however, right when the NXT Spring Breakin went off the air, we saw two hidden figures. We don't know who they were. Uh, Braun Breaker was able to withstand both until they whacked them in a chair and they put them out on a stretcher. Nobody knows where they're going. You can see that part of the clip in a digital exclusive on the YouTube channel, so you can see that right from there. So I don't know what's gonna happen for next week, but we'll just wait and see from there. So right now, I believe let's start with some news updates. Okay, so here are some news updates you may have heard or haven't. As you know, we have a New Japan show taking place in DC on May what? More 14th, where we feature the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. Now, keep in mind, we were supposed to have Tanahashi to take on Osprey, but due to Osprey testing positive for COVID, he was replaced by Tanahashi. But however, Osprey feels that there was a lot of things. I feel like he's trying to put everything all in one bag. Like, for example, he wants a shot of Moxley. He feels that that match was a load of crap. Tanahashi should not have been champion. But now, where does this match ends with Juice Robinson being in it? Well, as you know, he attacked Tanahashi. He wants a shot of the title. So basically, anything could happen. So basically, Osprey believes that that title should have been his because, he took out Sonata with breaking his orbital bone. But that doesn't work that way. But we'll see how that ends. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. A four-way for the United States Heavyweight Championship. Now, I did mention before, not too long ago, that GCW will be making their debut in Providence, Rhode Island. Well, it's just been announced for the name of the show is called I Never Liked You, and it's going to be on the 19th. However, there hasn't been announced who will be participating, but I'll keep that to a prize. Now, there's been talk about a new AEW show taking place in TBS. It's still unclear what. However, the group known as the Ringleaders.tv side, owned by Warner Media, are want to do this show. Names are being, of course, dropped, like on the rope, all access, things like that. But it's still more not unclear yet how they're going to proceed. But I will be putting a pin on this one. Now, if you guys remember, not too long ago, I mentioned that the Cosmic Angels, Pink Kabuki, Mina Shirakawa, and Unagi Sayaka will be participating in New Blood. However, I got a new information. Someone put the transcripts translated to that particular day when they had that press conference. At the time, they had no partner. Now, I did state it that I hope it was Rika Kawahara because apparently I like that she fits perfectly. However, this past weekend, before was it this weekend or the weekend before that? Oh, before um before the Cinderella tournament finals, we did saw that the Cosmic Angels, Pink Kabuki in particular, headed to World Women Pro Wrestling Diana, where they took on the champions, Luminous, consistent of Haruka Umesaki and Mayu Takase. However, Unagi made that decision that she wanted to bring Umasaki into the match to be their ex partner. Now, Umasaki doesn't like Mina Shirakawa. Unagi's tried to place Peacemaker. Mina doesn't like her either because they felt like one screwed the other during the Cinderella Rumble that took place in World Climax on day 2. But Umasaki said that she's willing to put that to the side in order to win the match against young Oedo, consistent of Starlight Kid, Ruka, and Rina. So this is going to be an interesting thing. So um, that's pretty much it what we got. So I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode on Tuesday Wrestling. Coming up, we got AEW Dynamite. However, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to add in. Dynamite is still on the table, but I haven't decided which show to produce that I want to review. If it's a past event, there is many options that I haven't decided yet. But I'll keep that a surprise for for everyone until that very day. Reasons I'm saying this is because Wednesday is going to be a little difficult. I won't be able to watch like normally I do watch like maybe other than AEW Dynamite like maybe 3 or 4 events. If it's past events, I'll do those. Like let's say from last month. That's about it. But we'll see from there. But right now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.